Thank you.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Zakia. Um, Let me first of all welcome you back to the fall semester. I hope you enjoyed your summer. We all look forward to the summer. I did. And before I know it, it was gone. So we are back. So let's look forward to enjoying the semester of learning. My name is Chinyere Emmanuel Ebwe. I'm a professor in the Department of Economics and Finance, and I teach business statistics. I introduced myself by email before the beginning of this class, and so I hope that you know already a little bit about me. I have been in this college for 37 years, and I've been teaching mostly economics and business statistics. Today we are going to begin this class, and please, for your information, the session is being recorded. Let me first of all talk about how we are going to conduct this class. This class is going to be entirely online. Every Tuesday, I will come in and we will have every Tuesday, we will come in for office hours. I might miss one or two due to other college-related businesses, or maybe due to a personal challenge. Now, as I said, the class will be conducted 100% online. This class, first of all, is 100% zero textbook cost. I uploaded the textbook for the class. You can also find the textbook in the folder for syllabus and course information. You'll find it there. All assignments will be submitted online. Let me just take a minute. Okay. I'm going to share my screen for a minute. Okay. So this is the class. Okay. I'm going to, first of all, talk about the syllabus. Here you have course information. And under the course information, you will see the syllabus. That is the syllabus. You click on it. You download the syllabus. And if you click here on the textbook, you download the entire textbook that you will need for this class. It's a free textbook, zero cost textbook, Introduction to Business Statistics. Let me see. Okay. an OpenStax publication. The entire textbook is available for you. Okay, it's available for you. Feel free to download it and use it. I may, from time to time, remember to remember to upload each chapter. It may already have been uploaded, each chapter of the book, for you to use. So that's number one. If you go in here, you will see the folder on learning assignments. That is where you will see your weekly instructions, which I usually post before the class. Your weekly instructions, you can see here, is called weekly task. Okay, and then you have learning guide, which will provide you information. Are you seeing what I'm putting up? Hello?
Yes, Professor, we can see it.
You can see that? Okay. You see the learning guide. The learning guide will instruct you on what to work on, okay, for each class or for each week, actually. Okay. There will be weekly quizzes. Every week there's a quiz for each week, okay? Please complete all the quizzes if you really want to give yourself a chance to succeed in this class. I'm hoping that we all succeed, including myself. You must complete these weekly quizzes to be able to have a good chance of completing the class. Because zero of the quizzes, it will really just eat into your grade, your final grade. This is number one. There are also, the weekly quizzes are essentially designed for you to practice, to learn. You can take the quiz as many times as you please, as you need to. Okay, so and your highest score will be recorded. That's what will be recorded. Your highest score will be recorded. And there are weekly homework assignments which I will grade. Okay. Then when I come to class, we can review them after I grade them. You can review them. If you have questions, you can ask before we go to the next class. Our classes will not be long. They'll be at most 45 minutes long. We can take 15 minutes to ask questions about the previous assignment. And if there are any things that you do not understand, you will, have the opportunity to ask me questions. Now, these homework assignments, these written homework assignments, are in the forms of what you call an executive summary. You interpret statistical data. This class is not just a course in statistics, it's a course in business statistics. And so the emphasis will be on your interpretation of data, statistical analysis with regard to business, okay? And you will see that from the beginning, we will, have data analysis that will really address a business issue. Now, the subject statistics can be applied in any field. It can be applied in statistics. It's applied in medicine. It's applied in agriculture. It's applied in sociology. It's applied in psychology. It's applied just in about any field. Well, it's applied in just about any field. Just give me a minute so I can silence this phone. Okay, so this is what it is. There'll be a midterm exam, partly multiple choice and partly essay. partly written questions, and there will be a final exam, which will also be partly multiple choice and partly written. Now, our main software for data analysis here will be SPSS, but we may also do, I'm sorry, our main statistical software for this class will be Excel, uh, Microsoft Excel, but we might use SPSS somewhere along the way, and I will coach you on how to use SPSS. It's very important. It's very useful. In the past, this class was conducted entirely on SPSS, but I will illustrate SPSS to you because it's very, very useful. It's a, it's a highly, it's a skill that is in high demand, and if you have that skill, you will be able to really um, uh, convince somebody to take a second look at your credentials because it's very useful. Okay, having said that, does anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions. It's pretty straightforward.
All right. Hearing none, I'm going
I have one
to,
question.
okay, go ahead.
You said the class will be mainly on Excel and you called another program. I can't pronounce it well.
SPSS, Statistical Package for Social Sciences, SPSS.
When we use that program, I know you said you're gonna walk us through it, but is there also a book for like if you walk us through it and we want to go back over what you said? Is there like a book explaining it well? Or
Yes, you can buy, what I call baby SPSS manuals on, what do you call it? On Amazon. Probably costs about $9 or $10 um, to to get an SPSS manual. But I'll walk you through it. I might also, provide you with steps. It's very easy
okay.
to use SPSS in this day and age. It's very easy, but it's very useful. In fact, in the past, 10, 15 years ago, or maybe 8 years ago, this class was conducted strictly on SPSS, nothing more. Okay.
Okay.
SPSS is, I believe it's available in the lab. If it's not, I'm going to provide the class a link for purchasing student version of SPSS. It's approximately $40. You can install it on 2 computers, and so 2 students can share one. Even if it's $50, $25 is not going to strain your budget that much. I understand you're students, but you have a free textbook. It used to be that this class required a regular textbook that would cost in the neighborhood of $60, $70 to buy. But you have a free textbook, so you can spend $25 on SPSS, or even less, depending on which version you buy.
It's our 7 p.m. It's 6:25 p.m.
So, today's lecture on statistics will be very brief because as from next week, I'm going to have full lectures. Very brief, just a brief introduction. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Here is the screen. Okay. So now statistics, I would explain to you, is the science of collecting, organizing, and the analysis of unorganized math data. The collection and analysis of unorganized math data. Why is it that you say unorganized mass data? The reason we say unorganized mass data, that is mass data, large quantities of data that is not organized. Because everything that happens in nature, everything that you do is data or creates data. But it's not organized in such a way that you can easily use it. For example, what hour of day do you wake up? You wake up at 5 a.m., somebody wakes up at 6 a.m., somebody wakes up at 7 a.m., and somebody wakes up at 8, 7:15, 7:30. All of that is happening, and what happens in nature is not designed to make your life easy. They all happen. 1,000 people go to a restaurant, and one person spends $10 on a meal, one person spends 20, another person spends 11, another person spends 12, another person buys rice, another person buys chicken, somebody buys fish, and somebody buys vegetable. All of this is creating data. They all create data because when you spend $5 on food on your lunch and somebody spends $5.70, another person spends $8 and 9, 12, 15, 6, 8.50, and so forth and so on. You create data. Now, the purpose of statistics in collecting and analyzing unorganized mass data is to transform that unorganized mass data into information. So the restaurant owner who takes 1,000 customers and then organizes the data, analyzes it, is trying to provide information in different kinds of information. What are the characteristics of the consumers, of the customers that come here? What times do they come? How long do they stay? What is the gender distribution? What is the age distribution of these customers? And that provides the restaurant owner information that they will use to structure how they provide services to customers so as to make the best use of resources. In the hospital, customers come in and they spend 2 days in the bed, and some spend 3 days, others spend a month, others spend 2 weeks, and so on and so on. And they come at different ages, for each customer. When a customer's age is determined the time they are born, between the time they are born and the time they come to the hospital, the data is created. But that data is not designed to make anybody's life easy or comfortable. No. And it's not designed to make anybody's life difficult. That's not what I'm trying to say. But the data that is created is not designed for any particular purpose. It just happens. That is what happened. Nevertheless, the data that is created has a characteristic. That characteristic is something that you collect the data, organize it, analyze it, and use it to obtain information. So now, in collecting data and trying to transform it into information, you have to, first of all, ask yourself, what information are you trying to collect? Depending on the information you're trying to collect, you have to also define a problem. Because it's when you define a problem that you are able to determine what information that you're going to be able to achieve. So once you define a problem, then you must then also determine variable. For example, how much did a customer spend? This last customer, how much did they spend? That is a variable. Because a variable is a characteristic or condition that can change or take a different value. So this customer spends $5, another spends $5.50, another spends $7. So the variable, how much this customer spend, has will change from one customer to the other. Okay? Now, once you define the variable, you must, why do you define the variable? Okay. For example, if a customer comes, you do not ask the customer at what age did their great grandmother die, because it does not help you in the restaurant. So you must define your variables very clearly. You must define your problem. Okay. Now, in statistical analysis, we have something called a population. We also have something called a sample. Okay. The population is all the members of a subject. For example, you think about the age or the incomes of people in Brooklyn. So the population you're looking at will be everybody in Brooklyn that earns an income. Everybody in Brooklyn that earns an income. So every member of the subject being income, everybody that earns an income. Then we have a sample. Sample is a selection from within the population. Sample is a selection from within the population. If you ask yourself, what is the average time that a student comes to school at McGivers College? What is average time it takes you to leave your home and come to school? Okay? Average time is a variable. Time is a variable. Travel time is a variable. The population is every student that came to school on a particular day. That is the population. But then you can take a sample. You can just select 20 students or 40 students or 15 students or 60 students out of all the students that came to school on a day. That is a sample. Now, there are different kinds of variables. Different kinds of variables. There's what we call discrete variable. There are continuous variables. The number of babies born in a hospital are discrete variables. You cannot have 1.5 babies. You can only have 1 baby, 2 babies, or 3 babies. And there are continuous variables such as time or weight. Now, continuous variables can take an infinity of values between any two values. 1.01, 1.000001, 1.01000000 ad infinitum 1. Because time can have an infinitum of values between any two values. Now,
It's our 7 p.m. It's 6:35 p.m.
when we think about variables, we have to measure them. We have to measure them. There are different kinds of variables that are called scales of measurement. There are different kinds of measurements that are called scales of measurement. Okay, you have a nominal scale. Have a nominal scale. Nominal scale is simply a scale that enables you to identify. For example, male, female. It's nominal. Identify male, female. You cannot have any other value between male and female. Blue, green. You cannot identify any other value between blue and green. It's either blue or it's green, or any color. Okay? Now, there is the ordinal scale, which is essentially a measure that identifies order. Okay? But you cannot add and subtract ordinal scales, ordinal values. For example, how much do you like this food? Say, I dislike it a lot. I dislike it a little. I'm indifferent. I like it a little. I like it a lot. Okay? Those are scales. And generally, what we do in statistical analysis, if you dislike the food a lot, it has a value of 0. So you can have a value of 1. Dislike it a little, has a value of 2. I don't care, has a value of 3. I like it a little, that has a value of 4. I like it a lot, that has a value of 5. Now, you cannot add 1 to 2 to make 1.5. No, you cannot do that. Okay? So we call it an ordinal scale, but there is an order. I like it a little is lower than I like it a lot. It's better than I'm indifferent. Indifferent is better than I like it, I dislike it a little. Then there is the interval scale. Okay? Interval measurements identify direction, but they do not, you cannot like add and subtract them as such. Okay? For example, the water is 0 degrees centigrade. It's freezing, very cold. Now, the water is 20 degrees centigrade. It is no longer cold, but you cannot say that if the water is 5 degrees centigrade, when it's still very cold, that when it is 20 degrees, it is 4 times as hot or 4 times less cold. No, you cannot do that, okay? So the interval scale does not, it's not something that, it kind of like divides things in series of equal size categories, okay? It can identify directions of magnitude, that's what it does. It identifies directions of direction and magnitude. 4 degrees is colder than 15 degrees. Okay, that's what it is. That's it. Okay, and 15 is greater than 4. That gives you an order. Now, the ratio scale is where you have a clearly defined 0 point. And you can divide and subtract. You can divide and multiply ratio scales. Okay? And ratio scale can also indicate direction and magnitude, and it can also indicate identity. Somebody who has $10 is different from somebody who has $15. $15 gives you a measure of direction because 15 is 5 points separated from 10. 15 can be added to 10. If you give me your $10 and add it to my 15, I get 25. And 15 is 1.5 times more than 10. These are the differences. You can divide 15 over 10 and get 1.5. All right. Now, let me talk about the critical things in statistics that we know. I'm not going to talk about everything, but you can download the PowerPoint slides and use them. Now, there are 2 ways we do statistics. We have descriptive statistics and we have inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics is about summarizing data and describing it for what it is. The average travel time is 10 minutes. Okay? And the average expenditure of customers in this place is $12. You can describe and say 50% of the customers are male and 50% are female, 40% are male and 60% are female. These are basic summary of data. We'll call that descriptive statistics. Then we have inferential statistics. Inferential statistics is essentially where you use information from the sample in order to make judgment about the population. For example, 1,000 customers come. But you take a sample of 50 customers and say the average customer that I sampled from spent $7 per meal. And so you make the inference that the average customer that comes to your restaurant spends $7 per meal. That's an inference. And we're going to get into inferential statistics, but I'm just explaining to you the stages that we're going to go through here. Okay, we're going to begin with descriptive statistics, and then we get into inferential statistics. And when you're doing statistics, I talked about taking a sample, which is taking a selection from the population, using that information to make inferences and make judgments about the population. So I'm going to stop here. And we have about 3 more minutes. So if you have any questions, please ask your questions. Any questions so far? All right.
I don't have any questions. Going straight forward.
Okay. All right. So I look forward to seeing you next week. And please complete your assignments on time. This is very, very critical here. If you have extenuating circumstances, please let me know. All right? So have a nice evening.
Okay, Professor, have a great evening.
You as well. Have a great evening.
See you, Zakia.